Hello, my name is Patricia and I collect artefacts from Caribbean and from Africa and some British one also. This is what I brought up from the West Indies. I come from an island called St. Kitts or St. Christopher, and it's actually a chocolate. We used to grate this in warm milk at night, and that's what we called our chocolate drink just before we went to bed. So this is over 40 years old. Quite amazing. It's lasted as long as this as well. I think the next thing I'll tell you about is my iron comb. Iron comb is extremely precious to us because as we start off as children with our hair completely always plaited. It's a key aspect of our young life. And I'll show you the doll that demonstrates that. You will find a lot of little children in the Caribbean with their hair either plaited up, little ribbons, or plaited up without the ribbons, or they can have beads in, and that's the way we would usually start with our hair when we were very young. You would always have your trusted iron comb, and this is exactly that. This is what we would heat on the fire. We'll have the coals, and we put it into the fire, we'll wipe it off, and then we'll comb our hair. And that would make it a little straighter, a little easier to actually comb and lengthen. Normally, this would only be used if you're going to a special party, christening, even a funeral, wedding, special occasions, or for those who felt they were more wanted to go out into the world, they would actually wear this and carry this and use it wherever they go. It was your trusted. You didn't go anywhere without your iron comb. Let me tell you, the first thing you must have, no kitchen will be without hot pepper sauce. West Indian hot pepper sauce we use all the time on everything, and it is so well that and this one is extremely hot. So one little drop is enough for you to blow your head off for a long time. But it's so good. Without it, the food is not the same. And the mighty malt. Mighty malt. This, I would say, is what we use on a Sunday. You would have caudle. So for dinner, it's your main dinner of the week, you would have mighty malt mixed with milk, some cream, some ice cream, and then you put some eggs in. Some people put eggs and you whisk it up, and that will be your Sunday. After your Sunday dinner, you'll have your mighty malt caudle. We've got some trusted the elders in our community, part of the elders, not all. These are the ones who play a lot of dominoes. You'll find that they are in a lot of the community centres, that you'll see a lot of groups that set up, and it tends to be predominantly the men, and it is a most fascinating game. You have them travelling all over Britain just to play the game dominoes. Back in the West Indies, it was the same. You'll see them with little tables outside, at the little shops, and they'll be playing dominoes. Because dominoes feature quite highly in the social aspects and social life of the elders. But there's a lot of young men who's coming in to do that. But usually it's the elders who would go and play a lot of dominoes. So you'll see the dominoes predominate within our culture. Let me take you through to some of the aspects of the island of St. Kitts. This particular doll actually shows and demonstrates the 3 colours of St. Kitts. Well, there's 4 really, but then it shows the green, and at the top, the green sort of talks about the environment and the green for that, and then you've got the yellow and you've got the black and the 2 stars, which stands for hope and liberty, and then the red is for the blood and for strength and freedom from slavery. So each of the different colours, as you see in St. Kitts and Nevis, because they feature very highly, and the flag demonstrates that, actually demonstrates also the sort of vibrancy of the colours and the country and the people, and that also resonates very clearly in their flag. And this is the St. Kitts Nevis flag, and it also shows the very aspect of the dollar in the flag itself, and hope and liberty being a very key aspect of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I've got many books, such as Nancy, the Spiderman, This is a West African tale that has come through to the Caribbean islands, and many would tell the story of Anansi, the Spiderman. Because of the tales, we are storytellers. We love to tell stories, and we love to sit around on our verandas, around our coal pot, and tell stories when it's dark and when there isn't. And at the time, we didn't have any electricity lights outside. So even when it's dark, people would be sitting on the veranda, the fire would be lit in a little coal pot, and they'll sit and tell stories. When I came here, my mother continued the same. Of course, we had electricity by then, but it tended to be on a Saturday evening. Everyone would gather into the kitchen, they'll have something to eat. Usually it's crab, because that was something they did at the time, and they would tell stories. And some of the stories would be Anansi the Spider-Man, and they would tell the jokes about that, and then they'll tell you that before you went to bed. But it wasn't form of bedtime stories. It was stories you told, whether you were going to bed or you were sitting down, congregating as families together, friends coming around. You'll tell Anansi the Spider-Man story. Beautiful. But back in the West Indies, I grew up with the carnival. And most of the times in the carnival, you'd always have what we would call, we call it a makajumbi, or a clown. And this clown would go around with its string, and it's like a whip, and he'll just go whipping everyone all around until make them scared and make them laugh and make them run around, and they would put on their mask. And if you look very carefully, the mask is very symbolic of some of the African masks. I haven't got one here with me, but I've got a few of the African masks, and they actually show at the same time in the history that these were actually made to symbolize fun and joy, and to help everyone to be very jovial in what they're doing. So this actual costume, this is a Caucasian one, but they come from all the different islands, and they all have different colouring, actually shows a clown in action. But you wouldn't look at it normally and see it as a clown. But when you think of the British aspect of clown, it's not too dissimilar in the way they actually go around and make fun. And make the whip and all the mask symbolises a lot of that, and the bell at the top with the feathers. So all of these symbolises what we would call a makajumbi, or a clown. And they would also show the jokes and the hilarity of it all. On one hand, I always looked at myself as a strong Caucasian woman, but with a strong African heritage, and I always believed that, and I never thought of it in any other way. And then when I learned more about Portugal, I thought, well, where does my Portugueseness comes within me? And I couldn't, that didn't fit for me somehow. I knew the sort of the stories of what happened, but it wasn't part of my sort of being. It wasn't part of who I were. I still feel that they sort of, the elements are clashing around each other. They're sort of hitting each other and making them think about where are we now, who are we, what are we doing, and what is it that makes me who I say I am. And that to me is what's exciting about it. The fact that I can explore all these different cultural themes and elements. Some of them I can put to one side until I feel stronger, because I don't always feel at the right time to deal with certain cultural elements that comes and arises its head. Sometimes it's best for me to put some things to one side, explore another. So I've explored some of my Africanness, and I'm developing more of that. I've started to explore some of the Irish elements that comes out of that, and that's developing slowly. I've explored my Britishness, because it's easier to explore now I'm here. I'm here, and I can afford to now say, right, what makes me British? What elements am I bringing from being a Caribbean woman with Irish descent and African heritage? What can I be and make all of that work together in such a way to give me what I have and to make me move further on in what I want to be? So I feel that these cultural elements are positives at the moment. Some of them rub now and again, and I'm not sure, and they clash now and again, and I'm still working on that. But for me, I still feel very much a strong Caucasian woman, British, but with African heritage, and That's how I am at the moment. More may come out of that, and watch this face. It will come, but I'm exploring it at the moment. Yes.
So that's a positive.
Yes.
A positive driving force in your life, really. Finding out really about all these cultural
I think
influences.
you can't do anything else but. That's how I feel. I don't want to be in ignorance of who I am, because there's more to me than being just the face someone sees and think, oh, that's a black woman. I'm not just a black woman. I'm all of these and more. And I still haven't found out the more. And I still want to find more of that out. So, yes, it's positive.